Well, hello everyone. This is the teaser video for this coming Sunday, July 4th, our Independence Day. So happy July 4th to everyone. My message kind of goes with the July 4th theme. It's actually called Freedom of Choice, and the theme is actually staying free. And I'm going to be preaching from Galatians chapter 5, verses 7 through 15. So Galatians chapter 5 through 7 through 15. Usually on Independence Day or July 4th, I tend to preach something about freedom. Um, Usually, when we think about our country becoming a country, we celebrate July 4th. We think about, freedom isn't free. We think about all the lives that were sacrificed or who that were paid to either win our freedom as a country or keep our freedom as a country. And one of the things I learned in the military about like something like taking a hill. It's always harder to keep the hill after you've taken it from the enemy's attacks. And when we talk about freedom, one of the things that we believe is that God has given us free will. And free will means we have the opportunity to make choices. And how we make our choices, or freedom of choice, really determines how things go. And we see here in the passage from Galatians, Paul has established a church in Galatia, and he left the church into the hands of the church leaders there, and then he went on to continue his missionary journeys. And then he hears some stuff or rumors or stuff coming back from the Galatian church, and Paul decides to address those issues head on with his letter to the church in Galatia. And I really love that about Paul. Paul hears something, he hears a problem, and he doesn't beat around the bush. He just goes and he addresses it directly. And sometimes that's, people get their feathers ruffled when someone addresses things straight on or to the point. But Paul does that in these verses. He talks about, I hear there's someone who's causing trouble, and this person's causing trouble, and this is what they're saying. Well, if what they were saying was true, then why is this still happening to me as far as Paul being persecuted by the Jews? So Paul just kind of uses some facts and evidence to dispute or to point out that what the person or the troublemaker in the church is saying, how that is inaccurate. And it's interesting because then he finishes up with love your neighbor as yourself. And we are celebrating a great picnic we had this past Saturday. We had some new people in the church for their first time definitely in the second service. And that was neat, and as we try to treat our neighbors as ourselves. But we all face times in which we are challenged in that, and our church has not been immune to people coming in and making it challenging to love your neighbor as yourself. And sometimes it's to the point where you've tried everything you can. You try to be nice, you try to give instructions, and you try to help people. And it just, sometimes it just doesn't work. So we have to understand, but we have to make sure before we get judging other people that we've took every effort to make sure we treat our neighbor as ourselves. And when we talk about this passage about freedom of choice and free will, we have the freedom of choice to choose Jesus as our Savior. But then we have the challenge of continuing to make those choices to represent our belief and our faith, and knowing that we will be attacked by Satan, and will be facing different challenges, and it makes it very hard. No one says that when you accept Jesus Christ as your Savior, life becomes easy and comfortable. No. Satan's going to do whatever he can to try to make us feel less worthy, to make us feel like we are better than other people, and all those things are challenges that we face on a regular basis. And if we start to truly try to love our neighbor as ourselves, making the steps and trying to make things as comfortable as possible, we will be able to see what Paul is pointing out to the Galatian church. But we also have to understand what he's talking about here about people causing trouble in the church. I think every pastor I ever know, has had people leave their church. I don't like to see people leave the church, but it happens, and I'm okay with it. Sometimes, you address people who may be troublemakers, or people who are power hungry, and you you address them directly and you ruffle their feathers, they don't feel uncomfortable and they storm out. That happens. And for someone like myself who used to take care of rose bushes and stuff like that, sometimes I know you need to prune off a few branches before the roses the bush really flourishes. So I'm never been one that will chase somebody who decides to leave the church. I hope they find another church they can get plugged into and feel comfortable with. But we want to make sure that we as a church are doing everything we can to try to reach people and love the neighbors as ourselves. So understand that freedom of choice we have really plays into our daily lives and how we approach everything. So for those of you who are going to be around, hopefully we'll have you with us on July 4th. I know some people travel on these 3-day weekends, but we hope to see everyone again soon. All right, take care.